Something big is happening on your behalf right now. Someone is about to get walked down, and I'm not talking about just any consequence. They're facing the results of their own actions, and it's all happening because of you, the chosen one. They didn't slip into wrongdoing like a misstep on a cracked path. They moved with precision, sharpening their malice into a blade. Their intent was carved from calculation. Every word they spread, every action they executed, carried a quiet, deliberate edge, meant to wound, meant to dismantle. They weren't passive forces caught in the drift of chaos. They chose to twist truth into weapons, chose to move in shadows where whispers sprouted into storms, chose to drain the light from spaces you dared to claim as your own. Their desire was more than petty envy. It was systemic sabotage, designed to see your spirit broken and your victories undone. Understand this: harm was their goal. They struck with full awareness of the destruction left in their wake, but where the blade met bone, it forged something harder in you. Now, equilibrium shifts. The same universe they polluted will cleanse itself, and the consequence they evaded begins to close in. Their shadow never belonged to the light. Drop a comment. Justice is walking them down if their actions are finally catching up. They were not blind to the signs. Warnings fell at their feet like stones, heavy with meaning, yet they chose to step over each one as though they carried no weight. The whisper of their conscience was silenced by their pride, drowned out by their relentless desire to take more, hurt more, and move without accountability. They were shown cracks in the path ahead, but their arrogance was louder than wisdom. Spiritual guides pulled at their shadow, tugging them toward grace, toward change. Yet they ripped free of those invisible hands with a sneer, as though they believed themselves untouchable. These warnings weren't subtle. The ancestors spoke through dreams, through patterns of decay in their life, through moments where everything stilled, offering them a chance to reflect. The discomfort they dismissed, the signs they ignored, these were not coincidences. The universe has always moved like a tide, gentle in its first waves, but unrelenting when it must correct an imbalance. By choosing to reject the call to accountability, they invited the inevitable. The spiritual collapse they now approach isn't sudden. It's a culmination, an echo of every ignored plea for restraint, for humility, for change. You must know this truth. They were offered mercy at every corner, but mercy has its limits when repeatedly spit upon. The hands they slapped away are now withdrawn. The path they forged with denial and destruction has reached its edge, and what waits beyond is justice. Universal law will not bend to their arrogance. They crossed thresholds they had no right to approach, let alone trespass. Spiritual boundaries, unseen but absolute, are not walls of stone or steel. They are laws written into the marrow of existence, and when violated, they snap back like a whip against the hand that dared disturb them. Through deliberate acts of malicious energy, attempts to block paths not theirs, to obstruct, or a plunge into darker workings, they tore through sacred balances they could neither understand nor control. This was not ignorance. It was defiance. To bend energy for harm is to strike at forces that are older, stronger, and more relentless than any mortal ambition. They sent intention like arrows, sharp and laced with poison, hoping it would pierce your life, but the energy they summoned has turned on them. Spiritual law demands equilibrium. What they pushed outward, envy, curses, manipulations, now spirals back, a force amplified through their recklessness. When they crossed this line, they sealed their fate. Violating spiritual boundaries isn't a mistake that can be undone with regret. It's a debt, and it collects payment in full. The energy they unleashed binds to them like chains, sinking into the very fabric of their existence. Paths they tried to block will open wider for you, while their own road crumbles beneath their feet. Their collapse is not punishment, it is consequence. Spiritual law is merciless to those who wield power without honor. They went too far, and now balance will be restored. The moment you give up your principles and become a puppet to fear, your spiritual path begins to die. These words carry weight like stone, truth compacted into a single breath. To surrender your values to fear is to sever yourself from the very essence of who you are. Spiritual growth demands courage. It is a path walked with integrity and resolve. Fear manipulates, corrodes, and dismantles the foundation of your soul. When you choose fear over principle, you forfeit your light, and what remains is a hollow shadow. Balance fractures, and the universe begins to reclaim what was lost. There is no escaping the universal law of cause and effect. Every choice, every action, every whisper of harm sent into the world accumulates like seeds sown in poisoned soil. They may have moved through life believing they could evade the weight of consequence, but the reckoning is inevitable. It arrives not as a punishment, but as a force correcting imbalance, an echo of the destruction they unleashed. The walk-down moment is the turning point, the collapse they can neither predict nor prevent. It comes swiftly, without warning, yet it is the result of 1,000 calculated steps they thought no one saw. This reckoning doesn't roar. It doesn't need to. It manifests as sharp, precise justice, a sudden downfall, a fracture in the life they believed untouchable, an accident that shakes their very foundation. Doors they manipulated slam shut, connections they relied on disintegrate, and the power they hoarded slips like sand through trembling fingers. This is not blind karma. It is divine retribution, an unrelenting force that moves through the unseen realms and makes itself known. What they gave to the world returns, magnified. The betrayal, the sabotage, the malicious intent, they are now surrounded by their own energy, unable to escape its sharp edges. Every path forward will demand payment for what they've done. You need not lift a finger. The universe itself has taken note, and the scales will balance. The reckoning will come. It is written. It is law. Their spiritual walls have crumbled. Where once they walked, protected, shrouded by ancestral blessings, guided by spirits who sought to redirect them, they now stand stripped of their armor. Their harmful actions, relentless and deliberate, forced even their protectors to turn away. Ancestral hands once outstretched in mercy now fall silent, withdrawing their grace. The shield that once absorbed the blows of life's consequences shatters, leaving nothing between them and the forces they have provoked. This collapse is not sudden, though it feels that way. It began the moment they ignored the first warning, the first whisper of restraint. Each act of malice, a lie spread, a path blocked, an energy corrupted, chipped away at their defenses. Spiritual protection is not unconditional. It demands alignment. When they chose harm over integrity, chaos over peace, they severed the connection to the very forces keeping them whole. Now they are exposed. Their aura, once a fortress, lies threadbare and torn. The phrase, "the witch is dead," echoes not as a literal death, but as the spiritual unraveling of one who believed they could move unchecked. Without their shield, they are prey to the energy they once manipulated, to consequences no longer held at bay. Forces they cannot see will move through their life like a flood, sweeping away illusions of power. What once protected them has abandoned them. They stand alone now, vulnerable, and what comes next will find them unguarded. The weight of spiritual misdeeds always finds a way to surface. What was once unseen now ripples outward, breaking into the physical world with force. There is no escaping it. Their debt has grown heavy, and now it presses into every corner of their reality. The chaos they sowed returns, not as whispers or shadows, but as hard, tangible consequences. Their actions move through the physical realm like a storm. Financial collapse, inexplicable accidents, relationships dissolving in sudden fractures, their foundation crumbling piece by piece. This is the manifestation of spiritual cause and effect, where imbalance demands correction. The energy they put out, manipulation, harm, sabotage, cannot dissipate into nothing. It returns transmuted, bearing the weight of every choice they made. When they work to block someone's progress, they weaken the paths beneath their own feet. When they sent harm to others, they unknowingly opened doors for harm to walk into their own lives. What begins as an inconvenience, missed opportunities, minor disruptions, soon escalates. Systems they relied on falter. Accidents find them like iron pulled to a magnet. Understand this. These events are not coincidences. They are reflections of their actions made physical, indisputable proof that no harm can escape balance. The universe is not cruel. It is precise. The scales they thought they could tilt forever have snapped back into place. What they built on the backs of lies and darkness begins to collapse, stone by stone, until there is nowhere left to hide. You're not just the chosen one, you're the whole damn revolution. You're the fire they can't extinguish, the force that shatters their limits, the power they'll never understand. While they scramble to keep up, you're rewriting the game. Chaos, that's your playground. Setbacks? Those are just stepping stones to your throne. You don't need their approval, their applause, or their understanding. You move on a level they can't even see. You don't just survive, you dominate. That's why the Obsidian Inner Order was made for you. This isn't some feel-good group. It's a dynasty of legends who know their worth. Every week, over 450 chosen ones get on electrifying calls that aren't just talks. They're blueprints for power moves. These aren't moments you forget. They're recorded so you can tap into the energy whenever you need to level up. The private Discord isn't just a chat. It's where real ones connect, break through limits, and turn ideas into movements. For those ready to make cosmic moves, Chosen Singles connects powerhouses who know they're destined to rise together. And the Star Chamber? That's where the raw, unfiltered truth lives. Truth too dangerous for the mainstream, but exactly what you need to rewrite reality on your terms. This isn't a question, it's a call. The fire you feel isn't random, it's the sign you've been waiting for. The portal is open. The link is in the description below. Step through it. It's time to take what's already yours. Spiritual debt is an unrelenting force, a ledger written in energy, and they have been racking up a balance they cannot escape. Every malicious act, every lie, every betrayal, every attempt to manipulate or harm has added weight to their account. Their actions were not isolated incidents, they were deliberate choices, each one carving a deeper mark into the spiritual fabric that holds balance in place. They believed they could move without consequence, but spiritual law does not forget. Their debt has grown heavy, compounding like interest with every repeated offense. You need to understand this. Energy does not vanish. It shifts, collects, and waits. They poured harm into the universe, and the universe took note, biding its time. This is the price of their arrogance. The spiritual realm is exact, and when it comes to settle accounts, it extracts payment without hesitation. What they face now, the crumbling stability, the unraveling of their lives, is not chance. It is consequence. They cannot buy their way out, cannot manipulate the system they once tried to control. Their debt has reached its limit, and repayment has begun. The energy they sent outward circles back like a predator, finding the cracks they created in their own defenses. Opportunities disintegrate, peace eludes them, and doors slam shut as their misdeeds bear fruit. This is the truth. Spiritual debt is a weight no one can outrun. It will always catch up, and when it does, it collects its due in full. They have severed the cord that once tethered them to the unseen forces of light, guides, ancestors, protectors who walked alongside them, whispering warnings and offering strength. Through their continuous alignment with darkness, they've cut themselves off from the very support that sustained them. Spiritual disconnection is not a silence, it is an absence. Where there was once clarity, there is now confusion. Where guidance once lit their path, there is only an expanse of shadow. This severance didn't happen all at once. Every malicious act, every betrayal, every refusal to heed the calls of mercy pushed them further away. Like a tree uprooted from soil, they now drift unanchored, unable to draw life from the spiritual forces that gave them direction. Their ancestors, who stood as their foundation, have turned their backs, unwilling to shield those who refuse to honor the sacred laws. Spirit guides, patient and persistent, have withdrawn their light, leaving them to stumble through the wilderness of consequence alone. Without this connection, they are vulnerable. Their defenses are gone. They are wide open to the very energy they once manipulated. Their path becomes erratic, filled with wrong turns and closed doors. The disconnection seeps into every facet of their existence, like ink spreading through clear water. What they face now is isolation on a level they cannot comprehend, abandoned not by accident but by choice. They chose darkness, and now the light refuses to answer. This is the cost of severing what cannot be replaced. They have altered the course of their soul's journey, derailing its trajectory with every choice made in darkness. What was once an opportunity for growth, for healing, for ascension, has now collapsed into stagnation, a road leading not forward, but downward. Spiritual progression is earned through alignment, through integrity, through the courage to walk in truth. Instead, they chose harm as their guide, and now their spirit drifts like a fractured vessel, trapped in cycles of decay. This is not a punishment, it is a consequence. Growth is a current, and to reject it is to sink into stillness. The lessons that should have refined them into something greater are now missed, buried under layers of denial and pride. Worse, their regression has a ripple effect. Spiritual decay does not simply pause the journey, it festers, carrying its weight beyond the confines of this lifetime. What they refuse to heal will follow them, unfinished and unresolved, into future incarnations. You must understand this. Stagnation is not an idle place, it rots. Their refusal to confront their choices seals them in spiritual inertia, where lessons are repeated as suffering and progress is replaced by loss. Their soul's path was a gift, one they disregarded in favor of destruction. Now they walk a road of consequence, slow, heavy, unrelenting. It will not release them until the debt of their misdeeds is repaid and the weight of their choices is finally understood. The story of King Midas originates from Greek mythology and illustrates the destructive nature of unchecked greed. Midas, a king consumed by his desire for wealth, wished that everything he touched would turn to gold. The wish was granted, but his blessing quickly turned to a curse. Food, drink, and even his beloved daughter were transformed into lifeless gold. Midas, blinded by his desires, learned that his selfish pursuit led to emptiness and suffering. This tale serves as a warning. Actions driven by short-sighted intentions can unleash devastating consequences, stripping away what truly holds value and leaving only loss behind. The universe moves with precision, and you are the evidence of its favor. The forces that guide you, protect you, and elevate you have drawn a line that cannot be crossed. Every malicious attempt to harm you, to block your blessings, to interfere with your path was not ignored. It was seen, weighed, and stopped. You are not walking alone. This intervention is not just their reckoning, it is your protection. Understand this. No one can take what is divinely meant for you. The universe does not operate on human time, but when it moves, it does so with finality. What was sent to harm you becomes the very catalyst for your rise. The energy they poured into sabotaging you will serve as the fire that purifies your path. Their interference was never powerful enough to undo the foundation of your destiny. It merely delayed their own collapse. This moment marks your elevation. The doors that were forced shut will swing wide open. The blessings they sought to block have multiplied, as divine forces stepped in to ensure no shadow would ever steal your light. What they tried to take will return to you tenfold, unshakable and undeniable. Your steps are watched, your energy shielded, and your purpose reinforced. You are chosen. The universe does not fail those aligned with its laws. They cannot touch you, cannot hold you back, cannot alter what has already been written. This is your rise. Let them watch. Your spiritual standing is not just preserved, it is fortified. Every attempt to derail you has instead sharpened your alignment with forces far greater than what they could ever comprehend. Their harm, their malice, their scheming was not a reflection of your weakness, but a testament to the strength you carry. You are chosen, and this event is evidence that the universe does not play with what it values. This is balance restored. The forces that walk beside you, the ancestors, the guides, the unseen protectors, are not passive. They move with purpose, stepping into realms they do not often enter to shield you from harm. Every energy sent to break you ricochets back, while your connection to the divine deepens. Where they sought to block you, new roads open. Where they tried to dim your light, it now burns brighter, unyielding, untouchable. Understand this truth. Your position is not fragile. It is earned and it is protected. When they acted, the universe intervened, not just to dismantle their intentions, but to elevate your standing. Your path is being cleared, reinforced with each moment of divine intervention. The trials you faced have now become the foundation of your rise, and those who tried to hold you back will have no choice but to watch as you ascend beyond their reach. You are seen. You are chosen. The universe has spoken, and your light will never be dimmed. Let this moment solidify your power. You are not here by chance. You hold power in realms both seen and unseen, and this event is a reaffirmation of your role as a force within the cosmic order. You are not passive. You are chosen to shape, to restore, to balance. Every trial, every act of harm sent your way was never an attack on weakness, but a test of your spiritual authority. And you have risen. The walk down is not merely justice. It is proof of your strength and an acknowledgement of your position. Understand this, you are part of a far greater design, a larger unfolding that reaches beyond this moment. Your energy is active, a current that moves through existence with intent and purpose. You are spiritually equipped, forged by the fire of experience, and empowered to command the very forces that others cannot even perceive. Where they moved in chaos, you exist in alignment. The balance they tried to disrupt was never theirs to control. It is yours to restore. This moment solidifies your authority. The harm sent to you returned to its source not because you demanded it, but because universal law recognized you. Your path carries weight. The power you hold does not waver under pressure. It expands, rooted in truth and justice. You are a guardian, a vessel for divine order. This is the reminder. Your role is active, your power unmatched, and the universe stands with you, unwavering. Step fully into your dominion. The spiritual realm has spoken. Malcolm X's story is one of profound transformation and unwavering strength. Born into adversity, he faced systemic racism, family tragedy, and a troubled youth, which led him to prison. Yet, within those confines, he underwent a spiritual awakening, embracing knowledge and faith that would ignite his rise as a fearless leader. Emerging as a powerful voice for justice, Malcolm X reclaimed his power, using his trials as fuel for elevation. His journey from victim to victor, spiritually and physically, stands as a testament to resilience and the ability to transmute pain into purpose. Every challenge he faced sharpened his impact, leaving a legacy of empowerment. Divine forces move with purpose, unseen but unyielding, orchestrating events that align with universal law. The downfall they now face is not random. It is the result of a hidden hand, one that intervenes when the balance is disturbed. You are protected by forces older and more powerful than any harm sent your way. Your ancestors, spirit guides, and divine entities have watched, weighed, and acted. When the lines were crossed, they moved, silently, relentlessly, ensuring justice is served. These forces do not falter. Where others stumble in blindness, they see all. They saw the harm meant for you, the energy that attempted to obstruct your path, and they answered it with precision. Their intervention is not loud, it does not require spectacle. It reshapes the very fabric of circumstances, dismantling what was built against you and reinforcing the road ahead. What they tried to send your way now collapses back onto them, because divine forces have redirected the flow. You must understand this. You are not alone. Even when you feel surrounded by shadows, the unseen is at work in your favor. Your steps are ordered. The events that led to their fall were no accident. They were a response. The universe does not allow injustice to reign unchecked, and your protectors ensure no harm lingers in your energy for long. The hidden hand moves with certainty, shielding you, clearing your path, and proving that spiritual laws cannot be broken without consequence. You are favored. Let that be known. Your ancestors and spirit guides do not merely watch. They move with power, precision, and purpose. They are the guardians of your lineage, the unseen warriors who rise when harm is sent your way. Their role extends beyond passive observation. They are deeply invested in your protection, your progress, and the fulfillment of your destiny. When threats emerge, when injustice lingers too long, they step forward to remove obstacles and ensure balance is restored. You are not left vulnerable. Every whisper of harm, every action meant to derail your purpose is met with swift response. Your spiritual team is on constant alert, attuned to the energies surrounding you. Where others may see chaos, they see patterns. Where harm hides, they uncover it. These forces do not sleep, and when the stakes are high, they act decisively, removing threats, dismantling plans, and redirecting destructive energy back to its origin. Understand this. Their protection is sacred, unshakable, and woven into the very fabric of your existence. You carry the prayers of those who came before you, the blessings of guides who walk unseen but present. They shield your path so you may rise, untouched by forces that sought to harm you. Justice is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of design, orchestrated by those who hold dominion in the realms unseen. You are their legacy, their investment. They ensure that no hand raised against you will succeed, and every harm done will be repaid. Remember this. You are a force, chosen and protected by powers beyond the limits of human comprehension. The universe is not passive, it is deliberate. Every energy sent to harm you is intercepted, transmuted, and returned with precision. What they face now is not your burden. It is the inevitable result of their own actions. You are not responsible for their downfall. You are the reason justice has been invoked. Hold your head high because the universe moves in your favor, aligning every step of your path with purpose and light. The laws of the universe are immutable. Energy is never lost. It flows, reshapes, and returns to its source. Those who act in darkness, especially against the chosen, bind themselves to the weight of their misdeeds. There is no escape from spiritual law. Harm sown into the world will take root, grow, and eventually consume those who planted it. For you, the lesson is clear. Stay aligned, stay focused, and trust the forces that guide and protect you. Your elevation cannot be stopped, and your purpose cannot be derailed. Now share your truth. Speak of the justice you've witnessed, the trials you've overcome, and the strength you've reclaimed. Your story is more than your own. It's a light for others walking through darkness. Let your voice be a testament to the power of alignment and the inevitability of divine justice.